face of an old man wearing a gold crown. And immediately Don, he kind of freaked out and turned around, but there was nothing there. And as he's like shivering from the cold,
use the right 2 lanes to merge onto Trans-Canada Highway 1 North towards Suk.
man with a crown on his head, but obviously there was nothing in the bathroom with him.
Ganda, oh.
And so Don felt totally unsettled by this.
Turn right.
Why it was so cold, he didn't know what he had just seen. And then Don happened to look down at
Nakagaling
his
kasi
wrist
kami sa
and he saw
doktor.
these deep scratches
I don't like the
all over
Mackenzie and
his
like
wrists.
transitioning
So kind of in a
to
panic,
Trans-Canada
Don just
Highway.
pulled his sleeves down to
Scary.
cover up whatever was on his wrists. He didn't want to think about it. He turned off the water and sprinted
In 6.3 kilometers,
This lady,
take exit
what the
14
frick is
onto
this
Highway
lady
14
doing?
towards Suk.
just sitting down.
Gusto niyang lumipad.
Don, he took a seat, he got
She's
his
just like
food,
going like past
and
3
didn't
lanes
tell
without.
about anything. And it just
Iniiwasan nila
happened
itong truck,
out.
oh.
He just sat
I know,
there
I
and
am-
ate in
Kasi
silence.
mabagal.
Bob and Jeannie could clearly tell something was on Don's
Ay, dalawang
mind,
truck pa man
but they'd
din.
known him for years, and they knew he was just not the type
Kaya
to
iniwasan
come out
nila,
and talk
eh.
about anything personal.
Kaya pag-ewang-gewang na sila,
He kept to
eh.
himself, and then when he spoke, he was kind of oddly flat and monotone and emotionless. You know, that was just who he was. But, you know, he didn't cause any problems. He was a very nice guy. And so for this entire meal, Bob and Jeannie just kind of looked at Don, but didn't ask him any questions and just let him eat in peace.
I'm Thomas, a dedicated psychic advisor at Kasamba, and there's one particular client story that profoundly changed my heart. She arrived with a heavy burden, shattered by the devastating revelation of her.
After the trio was done eating, Jeannie gathered up their dishes and headed to the kitchen to wash up, and Bob and Don headed to the living room where they sat down and Bob turned on the TV, and for a few minutes the two friends just watched TV. But at some point, Bob realized when he looked over at Don that Don was
Ay,
not really looking at the TV. He was actually looking down at the ground. It was like he was just sitting there.
Bigla na lang
motionless, just staring off into
magma-merge
space.
na.
Bob thought to himself, wow, Don must be catatonic.
See, he's supposed to go like this, turn the lights, go on. Oh, whatever. It's probably in a busy road.
Oh, hindi man lang siya nag-signal.
Hindi, nag-signal siya, tapos bigla nag-turn siya. Hindi man lang nag-signal, wait, and then turn.
Kaya nga eh. Siyempre, nakabuelo tayo.
And so a few minutes goes by, and the two men are still silently sitting in their seats when Bob begins to hear what sounds like running water. And at first, he looked over
Saktong
at Don,
pag-turn
thinking
on
maybe
niya ng
Don had
signal
slipped
niya,
a drink on the ground.
sabay
Don didn't have a drink.
turn
Bob was
naman
still
din siya, hindi
sitting
siya
there
nag-wave.
catatonic, staring at the ground in front of him. And then, you know, Bobby turned and looked towards the
Ganda ng
kitchen, thinking
yellow
maybe
na
Jeannie had spilled a drink.
punong kahoy.
And then Bob felt a drop of water land on his head. And so he looked up and he saw water was coming to the ceiling. And so right away Bob stood up and he yelled to his wife that a pipe had burst. And then Bob, he grabbed his phone and he called his landlord, who lived right nearby, and said, "You gotta get over here. You know, there's a pipe that's bursting in your house." And just a couple of minutes later, the landlord and his wife arrived at the house. The landlord ran inside and he and Bob rushed upstairs to try to find the origin of this leak. And when they got up there, they looked everywhere and there was no obvious sign of where water could be leaking from. The toilet wasn't overflowing, neither was the sink. You know, they couldn't hear the sound of running water anywhere. And then they also realized as they're walking around upstairs that where the leak was coming through the ceiling above the living room, they went to that rough area above the living room, and the landlord was like, "There's no plumbing over this area. There should be absolutely no water anywhere near where the water was coming through." And so Bob and the
Parang yan yung
landlord were
ano.
very confused, and they began walking
Hindi, iba
downstairs
pala.
to try to figure out what else they could
Ang
do.
government,
In 2
CRD
kilometers,
yan.
take exit 14 onto Highway 14 towards Suk.
The first was, as they came down the stairs,
Ang
they
ganda
were
dito,
entering
oh.
the living room where the leak had originally been noticed.
Ang sarap manghuli ng usa. May nasagasaan nga na usa doon, dinaanan namin.
And it was now not just coming out of the ceiling of the living room, but it was also now
nakita, ah.
leaking out of the walls of the living room.
Kasi
Basically, all the
nanonood ako
different
dun sa
walls
mga
and
view.
surfaces in the living room were leaking water. And then the second thing they noticed was Dawn. Dawn was still sitting on the couch, still just totally catatonic, staring at the ground, not doing anything, which made no sense. Everybody
ganda
else
ng
in the
ano,
house is
punong
running
kahoy,
around
oh.
trying to figure out this leak, and there's Dawn just staring at the ground. And so Bob, who at this point is pretty overwhelmed with what's happening here, but he thought, I gotta make sure Dawn's okay. And so he just walked through the leaking living room right over to Dawn.
Yung ano.
Use the second lane from right to take exit 14 onto Highway 14 towards Suk.
His mouth kind of contorted into this weird smile with his lips kind of pulling away from his teeth, and all the tendons on the top of his hands began to tense as he wiggled his fingers. And Bob at this
Langford
point
na tayo.
realized realized
Ay,
there was
towards
something
pala to.
wrong
Sorry.
with Dawn, and they needed to call the police.
Take the exit, then keep left onto Highway 14 toward Langford.
In 2017, it was one of the most difficult times in my life.
Use the left lane to keep left onto Highway 14 toward Langford.
Just retired from the Navy SEAL team, something I was very proud of, and I had this beautiful young family. But transitioning back into the civilian world was terrible for me. I was depressed, I was unemployed, and I was too ashamed to tell
Yan.
anyone.
In
May
about 1
trabaho.
kilometer, turn right onto Pete Road.
Yan, may trabaho ako kaso punta kami sa doktor. Tapos ito, ida-drop off namin yung sasakyan doon for maintenance doon sa kaibigan ko. And then, susunduin kami ng isang anak ko kasi ida-drop off namin yung isa. Na-drop off namin si Toyota. Ay ano, si Honda. Susunduin kami ni Toyota. Ay, ang gaganda doon. Ano, oh, mga trees doon. Sayang.
And if you don't click with your therapist, it's no issue. You can easily
Daming
swap
mga
to
red
another one.
doon.
Go past this light, then at the next one, turn right.
Therapy session. Click the link in the description or go to
Mga
betterhelp.com/Mr.
red na. Ayan o, may red doon.
the first
Oh.
month of therapy. Okay, back to the story.
At the light, turn right onto Pete Road. Then at the roundabout, take the second exit.
Can you go call Ate? I'm already here. I don't need the map.
Ay, Langford na. Andito na yun. Ay, no. Ang ganda. Ang ganda, ganda.
Call Ate Mikmak on speaker.
Calling 8 Nick Mock on speaker. 8 Nick Mock on speaker. Your call has been forwarded.
Oh my gosh. Call Ate Mikmak on speaker.
Calling 8 Nick Mock on speaker.
Check mo kung meron mga life labs dito, ma.
Doon na lang ako. Maghintay na naman.
Hey, where are you?
Ang ganda, oh. Ay, mga red.
No, I'm just wondering where you are because I'm still driving. I'm close by. We haven't really dropped the car off yet. But we're in here.
It's still 9 minutes. And she keeps shaking in the car.
Kasama mo si Kulit?
Guys, everywhere, girl.
Alam mo yun.
Ba't para kang naka-megaphone? Ang itim naman ng...
Yeah, kasi nakalala yung salat ko sa mukha ko eh.
You know Flourish Broties?
Shake sa kotse. Tulad kinakabot.
You know Flourish Broties here?
Ha?
Flourish Brotie is
Wow,
here.
wow, Flourish Brody.
You want Flourish Brotie?
Yeah.
Alright.
Sayang yung mga red na sa ano.
Kaya siya shake siya ng shake. Yung parang balahibo niya, nakailan siya ng pito.
Yeah, mo. Aso yan.
Bibihira mo nga lang makasama.
Diretso yung shake niya.
Ana?
Diretso yung shake niya, tapos eh, utot siya ng utot pati.
Paano kumain siya ng
yung
ano?
kinain niya.
Kumain siya ng raw meat kahapon. Kumain din siya ng cooked meat kahapon.
Bro, you know Rhino?
Kagabi.
You know that street in front of them? They're literally building a roundabout.
Yeah, I know.
No, you don't. You just found that out.
No, I do know because I've been looking at their. They were selling up. They were renting up, leasing a property around that area.
Boating
besides
cafe.
Rhino, so I was
Oh,
looking
House
into
of
it.
Boating Cafe.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Ano, nagpipit-pit na sila. May construction na. Oh.
There's no shaking and no crying. Okay. Oh.
Leave?
Shake niya.
Ma, you do it too. Shut up.
Something in it. Something in it on his eye. Or on his ear. See, he's shaking like non-stop.
Yeah.
Alam mo, merong uncomfortable sa katawan niya kaya nagsishake.
I don't like when you talk, Mom. It's so loud. So